All right, so we
Hey,
again are live. We are on week 5 of our hormone series. Today we're doing the second part of the sex hormone piece. So I'm actually just, Anthony, going to kick it right to you because I mean, at this point, we've covered um, adrenal issues, we've covered thyroid, we have covered sugar level. I mean, we've covered all of the hormones that could possibly be covered at this point, except for a couple of the sex hormones that are left. So, do you want to talk about which of the sex hormones that we haven't covered yet and take
yeah, I
over?
mean, there's still many hormones that we haven't talked about yet, but we were concentrating on sex hormones. We'll finish up the balance today. We're concentrating on cortisol, thyroid hormone, insulin. But yeah, I mean, there's way more. You want to learn about all the other ones? Maybe look into endocrinology to get the full spectrum of hormones. But last week we talked about LH, FSH, estrogen or estradiol, and more specifically, since both men and women produce 3 different types of estrogen, and we talked about progesterone. So the balance of sex hormones, which I'll get into a little bit today, is pregnenolone, which is a very interesting one because that's the master hormone when it comes to sex hormones. That's the first hormone that's converted from cholesterol, and then from there it branches out into all the ones that we talked about last week, and well, with a couple exceptions. Most of the ones we talked about last week, and the ones we're going to talk about this week. So it's pretty cool hormone. Then
As far as
DHEA,
hormones go, it's pretty
as
cool.
far as hormones go, yeah.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I mean, it's if there's anything that I want you to understand is it's not so important to understand what the hormones necessarily do. I mean, it's not a bad idea to understand what some of the symptoms can be if those hormones are high or low. But what is important to understand is all these hormones stem from cholesterol. So we have to have optimal amounts of cholesterol in order to even make these hormones. So when we have a client, myself included, when we have a client that's vegetarian or vegan and they're not really consuming dietary cholesterol on a low level, our body makes it. Our liver makes cholesterol. Cholesterol. How's that? I just created a new
new
thing that the
hormone.
body creates. Cholesterol, but our liver makes it, but we also can get it from our diet. And then there are foods that also stimulate the production of cholesterol. So we need sufficient amount of cholesterol. But what's also equally as important, and I'm not saying the higher the cholesterol, the better. There's optimal ranges, and then again, too low cholesterol is not optimal either. And I remember before I got into doing this, when I would go to the doctor and get blood work, if cholesterol was very low, that was a good thing, but it's not. It's not at all for not only hormone reasons, but there's many other reasons. Anyway, uh, so cholesterol is the raw materials. Then what's equally as important is, for example, pregnenolone converts into DHEA. It also converts into progesterone. Progesterone converts into cortisol. Um, DHEA converts into testosterone and estrogen. And what's important to understand, the conversion is done by enzymes, more specifically metabolic enzymes. So our body produces digestive enzymes when you eat food. We produce enzymes to help break down fats, protein, carbohydrates, things like that. But our body also makes what are called metabolic enzymes, which is critical. I mean, it can't happen without enzymes. The body cannot convert things into other things like cholesterol into pregnenolone without enzymes. Enzymes are dependent on the pH of the body, of the blood, more specifically. So even though this is not really direct, at least wasn't planned to talk about today, the pH or the alkalinity or acidity of the body plays an important role of enzyme production. And without metabolic enzymes, without the pH being in the correct place, we're not going to necessarily produce the necessary enzymes to convert things into other things. You know, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about thyroid hormone and how total T3 and T4 convert into free T3 and T4. Again, that's done from metabolic enzymes. But anyway, so DHEA, testosterone, there's two measures. There's total and free, just like there was for thyroid hormone, total and free. Then there's aldosterone, which is another interesting one, and cortisol, which we kind of talked about the other day. But pregnenolone, if pregnenolone is high, if you're fortunate enough for your doctor to run all these markers, which is pretty rare, at least in my experience, if that is high, that can suggest that there's some adrenal issues. If it's low, that can also suggest some adrenal issues. Plus, you may be experiencing fatigue, but fatigue is not limited to low pregnenolone. What's interesting is, and just don't go out and do this, check with your health practitioner, pregnenolone is just an over-the-counter supplement. Unlike testosterone or estrogen or progesterone, you need a prescription, but pregnenolone is an over-the-counter supplement, which I still don't understand why that is, but it is. And DHEA. So DHEA, you'll see on a lab, it's DHEAS. If it's high, that can suggest adrenal issues. If it's low, that can also be adrenal issues. It also can lead to high insulin levels. DHEA is 100% produced by the adrenal glands, 100%. So is aldosterone. So is cortisol. So some of these hormones, these sex hormones, are produced solely by the adrenal glands. And I mean, if we talk about any one thing over and over and over again, it's about when women go into menopause, men go into andropause, how their ovaries and testes shut down, and now the adrenals have to pick up the slack from what the ovaries and testes were producing, and then the adrenals also are producing 100% of certain hormones like DHEA and cortisol and aldosterone.
Can I jump in right here? Just because what you just said is so critical that I know even as we were in school for what we do now, being health practitioners, they didn't even really address this the way that I think that they should have. This is the kind of stuff I think they should have been teaching in school, like in health class when we were in, 8th grade. So what a lot of people don't understand is they just think, well, I hit andropause or I hit menopause and oh well, my life is just going to go to hell and I have to take replacement hormones.
I don't think most
and most men don't even realize they go through a similar process. So women are sure we know that they're going through a similar process, but they don't realize that it all comes back to, and if we've said this once, we're going to say it again and again and again, the stress levels where your body believes it's under stress, it's in a dangerous place, it doesn't feel safe. That's when your adrenal glands, that's when your body is going to kick into that fight or flight. So if your body is working to deal with all this danger that's around, and it puts all of its effort and energy into this danger, this chronic fight or flight that you're running through, it doesn't have the resources anymore to pick up the slack for what it was supposed to be doing to take over for where the testes or the ovaries are having, they're slowing down and shutting down. So that's why Anthony and I spend so much time with our clients around the underlying current of what the body feels is dangerous or safe. Because if you're in a chronic state of feeling you're in danger and you don't even realize it, your body is working overtime to try to manage this dangerous situation you're in and doesn't have the resources anymore to balance the hormones, to do the hormone production, and to do the work that it needs to do. So just because you're in your 40s or you're in your 50s and you're coming into menopause or andropause doesn't mean it all has to go to hell in a handbasket. If you are managing your stress levels and your body feels safe, you're going to be able to breeze through it a whole lot more easily than when you go into it already having stress level issues. Back to you.
Cool. Yeah, because survival is the most important thing, right? So the body's gonna, whether it's thought alone or whether it's a physical danger or stress, and we talk about the multiple kinds of stress, where it's chemical, emotional, and physical stress. Body doesn't really care if it's thought alone or something that's actually happening. It's still going to respond the same way with a fight or flight response.
In fact, if you guys don't already know this, I'll pop this up here right now. On Friday and Saturday, I did a masterclass on dissolving anxiety, overwhelm, and burnout. And the issues with anxiety, overwhelm, and burnout go directly to impacting hormone production and balance. So I spent an hour and 15 minutes-ish going through the 3 keys to dissolve. And I actually even hit, in the first 7 minutes of that masterclass, I hit the number one thing that you have to have in order to dissolve those things. And if you're running in this anxiety or overwhelm, or you're at a burnout stage, your body doesn't have the resources to do what it needs to do on a regular basis, let alone in a more stressful situation. So if you want today's Monday, at midnight tonight, the replays are going to go down. So you have through until the rest of the day to watch the replay. I suggest you do. It was actually a really good program. I got so much into this hour and 20-minute session. It's nourish123challenge.com. If you haven't already registered for it, you can register for it there and you'll get instant access to the replay. And again, the replay is coming down tonight. So if stress is an issue for you, or you think it might be an issue for you, or you're coming into a time period of your life where your body is out of resources and you're struggling with this kind of stuff, then that's a great masterclass session for you to go to.
Cool. So testosterone, there's both total and free versions, and high amounts of testosterone can lead to excess hair, a condition called PCOS. It also can increase the risk of insulin resistance and or lead to testosterone dominance. What I didn't mention last week is high estrogen can lead to estrogen dominance, and all that means is the ratio between estrogen and testosterone are not balanced. Low testosterone can lead to things like osteoporosis, a decreased lean body mass, or low libido, which we do see. Aldosterone is a very interesting one. I talk about this one a lot. So aldosterone is produced 100% by the adrenal glands. High amounts of aldosterone can lead to edema, increased stress, anxiety, depression. Low levels can lead to an imbalance of electrolytes, adrenal gland issues, and not feeling hydrated. So the best way I can explain this is we ask our clients, well, let me say it a different way. If someone's blood work suggests that they're dehydrated, I'll ask the client about their water intake. And I'd say a good amount of times the client is absolutely drinking enough water. So I ask them, do you feel like you're holding on to it? In other words, do you feel hydrated? And most times the answer is no. And here's why that is. So the adrenals produce aldosterone. When aldosterone, if there's adrenal dysfunctions, either the adrenals can overproduce these hormones or underproduce these hormones. So if there's an underproduction of aldosterone, that signals the kidneys to dump sodium. So in other words, we pee out all our sodium, and where sodium goes, water follows. So all the water they're taking in, it's just going right back out. And on the flip side of that, if there's some kind of adrenal dysfunction and aldosterone is high, that tells as I mentioned before with edema, that tells the kidneys to hold on to sodium, and where sodium goes, water follows, and the body just hangs on to all this excess water. So those are some of the symptoms. Then we talked about, cortisol a couple of weeks ago, and if cortisol is high or low, that's pretty much issues going on with adrenals.
Yeah, so at this point, what hopefully you're getting from these 5 weeks is that you don't need to be a specialist. You don't need to be a practitioner. You don't need to have the years of schooling that Anthony and I have. The thousands of hours, the extra hours Anthony has just on the lab interpretation and all the other certifications he has to understand this. What you need to really understand is when the body doesn't feel safe, when the body is out of balance, a lot of other things go out of balance too. So the body is inherently brilliant and knows how to balance, and it's constantly trying to find balance. But if it thinks it needs to put its resources into something else because it's in danger and it needs to survive, it's going to let go of everything else. Your digestion is going to change. You're going to start having pain in certain areas. You're not going to feel right. You're not going to sleep as well. Nutrient absorption goes down. Hormone balance is out the window. And your body will either start losing weight rapidly or gaining weight and not being able to let go of it because it's trying to desperately protect itself.
And then the symptoms arise.
Yep. And that's where, so every single thing that you're dealing with, whether it's an official diagnosis or whether it's a symptom, is not the root issue. The root issue essentially comes back to what's going on internally and externally for you that is causing you to feel like you are not in a protected area, that you need to be focused on your survival. So if you're solely focused on survival, that's a lower level frequency, that's a lower level vibration. The body is just constantly looking around and it's hyper focused on all the what ifs, ruminating on all the ways I can protect myself, and it's looking for ways to stay safe. When you can move beyond that survival, you can get yourself into a place where you start to understand internally and externally that you are safe. Your body can then take all this extra resources it's been spending on trying to survive and put it towards the healing process, put it towards the up-leveling process, put it towards transformation and transmutation. It's a whole different ballgame. It's a whole different story. And that's why when Anthony and I wrote this book, Transformational Healing, what we're really trying to get people to understand is emotionally, mentally, and physically, what are the things that are causing your body to stay out of balance because it doesn't feel like it has any other resources to spend other than the ones it's spending on survival. So we take you through our entire process through the book. The masterclass that I was just talking about, I spent the whole entire 75 minutes just focused down on really what anxiety, overwhelm, and burnout really are, and the 3 keys to dissolving those things so that you're not just moving to the side or squashing them. You're actually learning what gets to the actual true root. So anxiety isn't a root cause. Overwhelm isn't a root cause. Hormone imbalance is not a root cause. Celiac disease is not a root cause. They're the representation of the root cause causing you problems. So what's brilliant or awesome, if you guys really want to see it that way, is when you have a sign, you have a symptom, you have a signal from the body, what it's doing is it's raising the little white flag saying, I need help, right? But when we keep ignoring it, or we keep shoving it to the side, or we keep trying to squash its ability to communicate with us through medications or compartmentalizing or being busy and keep going. And if I keep running fast enough, maybe I can ignore the response that I'm having. If we stay in those spaces and we don't actually address the issue, the true root cause, we're going to continue to pile on to our body's inability to feel safe. And that fight or flight is going to keep kicking in. And fight or flight is directly connected to what's going on with adrenals, hormone production, hormone balance, and your ability to find the true overall balance and healing that you want. So a lot of times I was told, well, it's your hormones. Your hormones are the problem. They're the root cause. I'm like, nope, there's something below that. But I believed that for many years and kept trying to fix what was going on. The doctors gave me the pill when I was 14, and then they started shoving me into lots of medications for managing pain and managing heavy periods and all of the things. And that just masked, at best, the issues. Now that I understand what's going on, it's amazing how my body can find the balance when I just pay attention. And when I don't, and sometimes I don't because I get caught up in my world just like everybody else does in their lives, my body signals me and says, hey, you're not paying enough attention. I need your help. So then I back off whatever it is I know I was doing that was causing me to not feel as safe or balanced as I could have. And our clients learn and know the same things. So Again, if you want to pop over to get the replay from the 3 keys to dissolve anxiety, overwhelm, and burnout, you can go to nourish123challenge.com and it'll kick you right into the page to give you access to the replays. The replays are going down tonight. So at midnight, the replay for that masterclass that I did on Friday, and I did the same one again on Saturday. You will only have access to the replay until Monday night, and I can't tell you when I'm going to do it again. I might, I just am not sure. So if you want access to that, it was very jam-packed, and I got a lot done in like an hour and 20 minutes. Anthony, anything else you want to wrap up on the hormones as a whole?
I don't know how overwhelming that might have been, but again, just to recap, if there's anything to understand, like Kirsten was saying, you don't have to go to school on lab interpretation or to become an endocrinologist. It's just the body really works hard at trying to maintain balance. Feelings, thoughts, emotions, and how we react to situations can really throw off that balance if we stay in that imbalanced state for a while. And hormones are really dependent. Again, this isn't the root cause with enzymes. When I talked about in the pH, all of those are also symptoms. If your pH is off, it's a symptom of something. Mm-hmm. If you're not creating the enzymes, it's a symptom of something. If hormones are not in optimal levels, it's a symptom of something. But it really all boils down to feelings, thoughts, and emotions, and how we respond and react to situations, and how we think.
Yeah. So I want everybody to take a deep breath and realize, and hopefully you're feeling more empowered. And nutrition, of course. I mean, we're nutritionists. It's one of those things we just skip over because it's so obvious. But it's something that you really need to realize, is that you have the power. Your body has the ability to heal. Your body has the ability to find the balance. Your body has it. You just may need some support and tools to be able to get it there, because you've been told things that aren't necessarily helpful from conventional medicine or even some natural practitioners, or something that you just didn't understand how the body works. And when you do, and you understand how your body works and what your body is telling you, it's amazing how things can change and make amazing shifts. So I had a woman pop into the masterclass I was just talking about a minute ago the other day, and she said, I'm in my 60s. I've been resonating in anxiety since I was a kid. Is it really possible for me to manage that? And I said, yeah. Because what's interesting is the body doesn't really understand linear time. Our thoughts and our memories and our subconscious doesn't really understand linear time. Everything's kind of all jumbled up there. So if you have a vision of the future and you can see it, and you have a memory of the past and you can visualize that too, the mind starts looking at all of that as a memory that's just happening when you replay it. So when you start to understand that it doesn't matter if it's been 50 years dealing with this, or it's been 5, or it's been 5 minutes, the body has the ability to move through and find the balance. You just need the tools to get there, and then just need to replace the old patterns that are simply no longer working for you, because what got you here isn't necessarily going to get you here. So if whatever got you here, you keep doing those things over and over, you're just going to stay here. Something needs to change in the patterns that you're in every day in order for this to shift as well. All right. Well, you guys have a good rest of your Monday. Again, you have until midnight tonight to grab a copy or to watch the replay from the masterclass I did this weekend. 3 keys to dissolve anxiety, overwhelm, and burnout. The replay is going to go down at midnight. So if you haven't already watched it, you weren't already there, if you really want to watch it again, then you just have to go make sure you go to nourish123challenge.com and register, and you will get instant access where you can watch it at your leisure today before midnight tonight. All right, everybody, have a good rest of your Monday. We are now complete on our Hormone 5-part series, and we're going to be coming at you with some new fun stuff next week.
Yay.